Today in the Fresh Brew Run Club, I am doing a shoe comparison between the Nike Vomero 18 and the Nike Vomero Plus. Let's go. Welcome to the Fresh Brew Run Club. My name is Aaron, and today I'm excited. I'm bringing back a classic Fresh Brew Run Club video, and that is a shoe comparison video. So I've made a bunch of videos about the Nike Vomero 18, and I also did an initial review of the Nike Vomero Plus, and a lot of the comments in both of those videos at this point are asking the question, what's the difference between these two shoes? Which shoe is better? I'm running a marathon, which shoe should I use? So that's what I want to do today, but this isn't just any old comparison video. I'm going to go out for about 3 miles in the Vomero 18s, come back to my car right here, put on the Vomero Pluses, and then run 3 miles to get as close of a comparison as I possibly can. So I'll give some details on the Vomero 18s, but check out my videos. I've done an initial review, a 100-mile review, and then a 300-mile review in these shoes. And I did do a little more detailed video of the Vomero Plus, my first run in these. But really today I'm gonna focus on the differences and similarities, I guess, between these two shoes. So with that said, I'm gonna lace up the Vomero 18s and get this comparison video underway. Just doing a little bit of a moderately easy pace, which I think that's what these shoes are for. So quick breakdown of what the Vomero 18s are all about. I think the midsole is the most important part of this shoe. The bottom portion is React X foam. The top portion is Zoom X foam. So keep that in mind. That's gonna be a big part of this shoe comparison video. Oh man, that scared me half to death. Anyway, wow, unscripted people. Anyway, what is this shoe for? So I would say this is a cushioned daily trainer. It is not a max cushion shoe. Again, also important for the purposes of this comparison video. I think that combo of the Zoom X foam and the React X foam gives you cushioning, but also allows you to feel the ground beneath your feet. There's a little bit of firmness to this shoe that kind of surprised me. I gave these a buy 'em again as part of my 3-tier proprietary shoe review rating system, and I did buy them again. This is my second pair. I ran just over 300 miles in the first. I have about 200 miles on these shoes, so definitely a shoe that I have gotten a lot of use out of in 2025. All right, that is 1.5 miles, so that is half of 3 miles. So this is where we turn around, go blue. Let's head home. Ooh, ominous clouds ahead. See how that goes. By the way, I'm going about 8 minutes per mile, which I think that's a good pace. You start to get any faster than that, and I feel like I'm kind of fighting the shoe a little bit. This is kind of the ideal pace for me, at least. All right, 3 miles down. First run complete. All right, first segment is done. I vastly overestimated how cold it is. It is not cold at all. Should not have worn a jacket. This is like become a sweat collection bag. I'm gonna ditch the jacket and switch my shoes. Okay, right off the bat, 2 things stand out. 1, this shoe is roomier than the Vomero 18. I went true to size with the Vomero 18, but it is a little snug. The Vomero Plus has much more room, especially in the toe box. I would not size down. I actually like the way this feels compared to the snugness of the 18. And then the second thing is I charge this hill. You can absolutely tell that this shoe has an all Zoom X foam midsole, and the other one, the 18, had that combo of the Zoom X and the React X. These shoes are much softer and they feel lighter. In fact, the Vomero Plus is technically lighter according to Nike compared to the Vomero 18s. And yeah, that's the result of using all Zoom X foam, whereas I think the React X foam is a little denser and a little heavier. I also think the upper of the Vomero Plus is probably lighter. It's like a more thin material compared to the 18s, which is going to contribute to that weight difference. And for me, that's just a more comfortable ride. I prefer the lighter cushioning of the ZoomX foam in this shoe versus the other one. So the Vomero Plus wins that round, the midsole battle. So speaking of the midsole, I think the shape of this shoe is actually different. I'll put the stats up on the screen right now. According to the numbers, these are similar shoes from a stack height and a drop perspective, but they don't feel like it, which is why I like to do my reviews where I'm wearing the shoes, I'm out here, I'm talking about them, because I go by feel, not necessarily by the stats. So for me, going by feel, the 18s have a noticeable drop. Like, you can absolutely feel it. The shoe slightly suggests that you run on your forefoot as opposed to the midfoot or the heel area. And the forefoot area of the 18s, it feels a little thin. If I had to speculate without sawing the shoes in half, is that the ZoomX foam in the forefoot is pretty thin, and it relies more on the ReactX foam in that area. Now, that's just pure speculation based on how it feels. Feel free to contradict me if you have taken a bandsaw to your Vomero 18s, but that's how they feel. Contrast that with the Vomero Plus, which I don't get that sense at all. The Plus feels much more flat. That's air quotes. It's not perfectly flat. The foam just feels much more even from the heel all the way through the forefoot, which I like. I like that amount of foam. Again, it's a lighter shoe, but you get more cushioning with that ZoomX foam. If you follow my channel, you know I'm a big fan of max cushion shoes, so it's no surprise I prefer these. Other noticeable difference is the outsole. The Plus has more of a waffle outsole, where the 18 was a little flatter. I kind of like the feel of the Plus compared to the 18. There's a very pleasing sound that the waffle outsole makes. Let me try to capture it. I prefer the sound that the Plus makes. I also find it much easier to go that 8 minute per mile pace in the Pluses. That's a mouthful. I looked down at my watch and I was easily running faster than that pace without really thinking about it. So another plus for the Plus. All right, 3 miles done. Okay, so 2 3-mile segments are complete. I think you can probably tell by the way that I was talking about the Vomero Plus that I much prefer that shoe. That's not to say that the Vomero 18 is not a good shoe. It's a great shoe. Like I said, I have 500 miles over 2 different pairs of that shoe. The Vomero Plus is just that much better. All right, I had to change angles. There's like a parking lot for a coffee shop over there and people are looking at me. And I feel too self-conscious to make a good video. So anyway, new location. If you're someone who wants to have maybe a little less cushioning, you want to feel the ground underneath your feet a little bit more, maybe you want a little more stability. That's something I didn't talk about when I was out on the run. The Vomero 18 is more stable, I think because it's a little bit lower to the ground and that ReactX foam is a little bit more firm. The Vomero Plus, I wouldn't say it's unstable. I just would not take a sharp corner at a high speed. I can feel my outside foot slipping a little bit when I've done that through the mileage that I've run so far in those shoes. So if you want something with a little more stability, the Vomero 18 is probably better for that. Nike describes that ReactX foam in that shoe as responsive, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Like I said, it's not a max cushion shoe, it's a more cushioned daily trainer. So obviously overall I prefer the Vomero Plus. I've gotten a couple questions about both shoes asking like, is this good for a marathon? If you're running a marathon and your goal time is 3 hours and 30 minutes and up, you know, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, I would highly recommend the Nike Vomero Plus. I think it's a great shoe. It's cushioned, it's gonna keep your feet comfortable for 3.5, 4, 5 hours that you're out there, but it's also light enough where it's not gonna like drag your feet down. The Vomero 18 is also a good shoe. I just think the Vomero Plus is a better shoe. I feel like I can get more speed out of the Vomero Plus compared to the Vomero 18. So it can handle a little bit faster workouts. Like I've done some tempo pace workouts in the Vomero Pluses that I don't know if I would be super comfortable doing those in the 18s. I've also done really easy runs. I've done recovery runs. So if you're looking for a shoe that has a lot of versatility, I would prefer the Vomero Plus. Now, of course, there is a price difference. At the time that I'm publishing this video, the Vomero 18s cost $155 US and the Vomero Pluses cost $180. If you have $180 burning a hole in your pocket, I would highly recommend just upgrading to the Plus. For me, it's a better shoe, it's lighter, it's more comfortable. I think it is worth paying a little bit more for that shoe. Now, if your budget is $155, of course, taxes and shipping included, if that's your budget, the Vomero 18 is a great shoe. This is not a video to trash the Vomero 18s. They're fantastic. The Vomero Plus is just a better, more versatile shoe that I prefer running in, and I'm excited to get a lot more mileage in moving forward. So that is my comparison video. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that answers a lot of the questions that I've been seeing in the comments of my previous reviews. Subscribe to my channel so you can check out those reviews. I have a 100-mile review of the Vomero Plus coming soon. I'll talk a little bit more about durability and stability and some of the things that I've experienced on the run, more specific to the Vomero Plus, whereas this is the comparison video. So subscribe so you don't miss that. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll do my best to answer those questions, but that'll be the video for today. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon.